And then are you looking for any particular soft skills? So I know you said you're not really concerned about, them having degrees or anything, but about soft skills, what are you looking for in an ideal mentee?
Okay, so for an ideal mentee, part of the documentation that I have built up for that is number one. So basically, yes, I usually talk about the entire data analytics journey and how I'm going to share. Let me, I don't know, I like telling stories a little bit, but let me just bring this out.
Hmm.
One of the things that I posted at some point was I talked about, because I have a bit of an active following on Twitter, and I talked about, you know, starting a journey in data analytics. And one of the things I mentioned was in order of that progression, starting from Excel or any basic spreadsheet tool, moving into learning relational database management concepts, as well as query languages like SQL, and then moving on to learning data visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, and Co.
Hmm.
And then from then on, moving to programming languages that speak to data, basically Python, R. I think there's a lot more popularity for Python these days than R. So and then and so on and so forth. So if I'm going to talk about like soft skills, basically, there's that data visualization is like very key for me, right? That's number one. Number two is Python programming language. So I know there's that, in terms of building machine learning models and so on, or even doing analytics, there's the and forget, yeah, let's also put the fact that yeah, there are auto MLs and so on that we could use, but in terms of knowing how to speak to the computer, like Python for me is a better choice over R. In
Hmm.
fact, out of all the programming languages that that will be talked about for a data analyst, like Python is one very key one for me. SQL, of course, and then understanding relational databases is very key. Um, one thing I have noticed from some of the kind of training programs is that I feel that there's this jump, or there's a ship jump where people don't necessarily understand, because at the end of the day, for most of the data being collected now, um, in as much as there are no SQL databases out there, there's a lot of unstructured data out there that's being stored. The primary data source or data repository for most organizations or most people, where regardless of whatever analytics you're doing, you're still going to be connecting to that, is the relational database. And having a very good understanding of relational database is like one very key thing for me. So understanding RDBMSs, SQL, Python, data visualization, yeah, math and statistics. Not, you don't have to be all into math and stats, but just knowing a bit of what algorithms do what, basic, I mean, things as basic as that. Um, and then on the other hand, so an eagerness to learn, that's one very key thing.
Hmm.
And then an analytic mind, an open mind, a curious mind that asks questions. Because at the end of the day, primarily look beyond the fancy projects and the big thing like doing big jobs and creating uh, groundbreaking applications and so on. One of the very key things is a curious mind that looks at data, that looks at information in outside of the box ways. So while I have talked about basic basic skills and technologies, one thing that's very key for me is an open mind, a curious mind that asks questions and is willing to challenge and look outside of the box. That's a very key thing for me.